Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. Yet again, we have a great video for you guys and gals today. I think you're going to enjoy it. Not only is there a lot of stuff happening in the precious metals world, but there's a lot of stuff happening in the actual world too. The presidential election is right around the corner, right? A lot of stuff has happened from this pandemic, a lot of stuff happening with the feds, the FOMC, with interest rates, with US-China trade negotiations, with the surplus of gold and silver, and we also have silver price manipulation. JP Morgan pays up $1 billion fine for manipulating the price of gold and silver. And this was a punishable crime. 6 of their employees actually got sentenced to jail. And this is real. But we have even more. I have the inside scoop. This article was posted yesterday, so it's fresh off the press. I have some new sources, some new information about that. And it's extremely, this whole topic about spoofing, which is placing false buy orders on these exchanges, canceling the order before it goes through, so everyone else on the exchange thinks a whole bunch of silver is getting bought up, and then that influences the way that they invest, right? So it's definitely punishable. They try to go around it and all this, but it's illegal now, and I'm really relieved that it's finally illegal to a point where judges, courts are actually taking notice and making a stand, because if no one is getting punished for it, then it's only going to get worse and worse and worse with more money, bigger banks, bigger. I mean, look at JP Morgan, the world's largest bank, is doing this, and what that means is not only that the price of silver is rigged, but that it could get even worse. So I hope that this gets swept, not swept under the rug, but I hope that this definitely gets tied down, because no matter what, it's going to happen. No matter anytime there's money involved with anything, there's going to be shadiness going on behind the scenes, and that's the true fact. Even though you want to think that stocks or Bitcoin is all fair game, unfortunately it's not. When there's money involved, there's always shadiness happening behind the scenes. But my question was always, to what extent, to what percentage are prices manipulated, right? What or how big of a factor has this put on the price of silver? Couple pennies, couple dollars, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, who knows? And I guess it's not really about that, more or less how you invest in that or during that time period. Anyways, I'll shut up about that. I just wanted to give a little context, a little overlook on what we're talking about today. Before we jump into this though, make sure you smash the like button. Hitting the like button is a great way to support the channel. You want to know a better way though? Subscribing. If you subscribe, you are directly getting linked to a source, a channel that will give you the latest, freshest, most up-to-date information with what's happening with the precious metals world, what's happening with gold and silver, why prices are acting the way they are, where prices are headed, and what you should do about it, more importantly. So make sure you subscribe. I bust my butt, made 2 videos today, maybe gonna make a third. I don't know if I'll post a third today. I also have a second channel. I might start uploading more on there. I know I'm going to, so links in the description, Silver Slayer 2. Anyways, let's jump into this. Spoofing and RICO charges disappear. The practice will continue. What he's saying is, since it wasn't really, like, yes, they got $1 billion fine, but for one of the most powerful, wealthy banks in the world, is that really, no, it's a slap on the wrist. Silver's volatility continues a wild ride for the years to come. I believe silver will reach a new record high by 2023. So we have some forecasts and some predictions. And when I talk about predictions, I always say it like this: nobody can accurately tell what the price of gold and silver will be. It's an educated guess at most. And why? Because we do not have a crystal ball to know what's going to happen in the future. Just like last year, all of the price forecasts from last year were extremely off because nobody could have predicted there would be a global pandemic. Same is happening now, looking in 2023. So many major events could happen by then that could highly affect the price of silver that we couldn't even fathom right now. And I did know this year was going to be this year was going to be the year, in my opinion, because of the 2020 presidential election. And since it's right around the corner, don't act too crazy right now. Don't make any for sure decisions, because we are right around the corner from something extremely influential for the price of gold and silver. Not only just for the price of gold and silver, but every market. So you don't want to make a decision right now, because things could go extremely good or extremely bad. More than likely good, because gold and silver do. They benefit off of chaos, controversy, and that's exactly what this election is going to do. Anyways, it appears that as though charges against JP Morgan regarding accusations of manipulating precious metals prices are likely to be settled for a cool $1 billion. Meanwhile, the silver price experienced another round of risk-off selling as the price moved from its August 7th high of $30 on the December contract to a low of under $22 last week. What happened? The bulk of the move came starting on September 21st as silver fell from above $27. And this is directly correlated to, you can thank this price decline to the dollar index. The dollar strengthened. I welcome the sell-off in the silver market. In late February, the price of the volatile precious metal fell from $18.92 to a low of $11 in March. The blow-off launched the most spectacular rally in years that took continuous contract just below $30 level for the first time since 2013, and that is true. The $11 in March did ramp silver up nearly $20 within a couple months. Doesn't mean that's going to happen again as silver kind of declines, but there is a storm before you have the beautiful day. I forget how the saying goes, but it's something like that. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, silver moved lower as the dollar index bounced, like always. And the U.S. stock market hit a speed bump. The rising potential of another risk-off period in markets across all asset classes weighed on the price of the precious metal. I view the current correction and continuation of lower prices as a buying opportunity, and that's so true. This is a buying opportunity. Get your prices for a discount. Silver is on sale. Take advantage of that. Glass half full, glass half empty. What type of person are you? Are you the person that looks at that glass and says, man, that glass is already half empty? Or are you the person that looks at that glass and, man, that glass is still half full? What type of person are you? Hopefully, you're the second one. Opportunistic. Look at things realistically, but also with a positive perspective behind it. You could sit, cry, fear, worry, regret, whatever you want, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, which is FUD. You can do all that stuff all you want, but what is that going to get you? A big fat nothing. All that's going to do is dampen your decision making when you're trying to invest profitably into not only gold and silver, but anything. So when prices are low, take advantage of them. Don't sit and complain. Don't look why. Take advantage of them. Lower your dollar per ounce average. Just like if you go to the store, you see prices, you see shoes you want. Wouldn't you be happy if the shoes went on sale so you can get them for cheaper? That's what's happening here. Anyways, spoofing and RICO charges disappear. The practice will continue. Last week on Reuters reported JP Morgan was set to pay around $1 billion to resolve and settle market manipulation investigations into its metals, futures, and treasury securities trading. The settlement would close a chapter with 3 U.S. agencies, the SEC, CFTC, and Department of Justice. Indictments of 6 JP Morgan traders for manipulating metals futures prices from 2008 through 2016 are still pending. There were no comments on the status of those charges or any future individual indictments. JP Morgan is not the only financial institution in these agencies. Crosshairs when it came to spoofing and market manipulation. And that's definitely true. We have several other banks doing this. RICO or conspiracy charges likely encourage those charged to sing like canaries and implicate their supervisors and their bosses. The RICO Act is Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organization Act that allows for extended criminal penalties and civil cause action acts during an ongoing criminal investigation. RICO was first used to prosecute mobsters, but the DOJ invoked it in the spoofing case. So time will tell if the individual JP Morgan traders that manipulated prices for profit will face judgment or if their case will be swept under the billion-dollar carpet. See where we're headed with this money talks. Meanwhile, after a 2-week court case in Chicago, 2 former traders from the Dutch bank were convicted of multiple counts of wired fraud stemming from spoofing in the precious metals market from 2008 through 2013. On September 25th, last month, Bank of Nova Scotia agreed to pay 127 million in fines to settle market manipulation charges. And it's crazy because because these are banks, right? We're dealing with banks, right? Merrill Lynch, the Dutch bank, J.P. Morgan. These companies, that's pennies to them, and what it really shows is if you get a slap on the wrist, or I mean, since there's 6 of their employees to get arrested and fired and all that, that makes sense. But the money part, the fine added on, that really doesn't matter. What this needs to show is that yes, there is corruption in the system, and people need to buckle down and take it more serious, because if not, it's only going to get worse. So, anyways, the RICO charges may have been the biggest spoof of all, as they got the institutions to pay up unprecedented amounts. Meanwhile, spoofing will not end in the precious metals, commodities, and other markets across all asset classes. While U.S. and European institutions will tighten internal compliance procedures, the global nature of the market put many of the leading spoofers and manipulators far from the regulators and prosecutors' reach. Chinese, Russian, and other traders worldwide continue to manipulate markets at each turn. And that's what I was kind of saying. You know, it's happening whether you want to admit it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. It's happening. It's happening. To what extent? We don't know. Whether it's whales, whether it's big banks, whether it's, who knows to the extent. Because 6 employees got caught, but trust me, those were not the only 6 people in the world that are spoofing. I have been involved in commodity markets for decades and have directly witnessed stockpile and price manipulation by the Russians and the Chinese traders. To think it does not continue today would be naive. The bottom line is that it is impossible to prevent practices by those with access to substantial capital that operate from countries where manipulation is a common practice. And then you have the question of, like, how do you know someone is spoofing? Because people cancel orders all the time. So you would really have to look at the behavior behind it, and the context, and really look at the patterns. That would be extremely difficult. So anyways, silver's volatility continues. Silver's speculative nature lends the mental to manipulate mental or metal manipulation at times. I mean, the speculative word is the most scary word in my opinion. Spoofing, whatever, manipulation, whatever, racketeering, speculation is going to be silver's biggest downfall in my opinion. Because that directly pulls and puts a blindfold on silver. The one thing silver has that no other metal, no other investment has, and that's its intrinsic value of the metal inside of it. Right? Every other investment is pegged to the dollar. Silver isn't pegged to the dollar, because regardless of what the dollar amount of silver is, the value of silver is the metal inside of it, how much metal is inside of it, not the dollar amount attached to it. And that's a unique advantage. That's a huge advantage. And speculation can wipe that straight off the board. You can have Donald Trump tweet something, or Jamie Dimon say something, and it could throw prices in a shamble. We saw it with Bitcoin. Jamie Dimon called Bitcoin a scam, shot Bitcoin prices down thousands and thousands of dollars, and then he ends up buying millions of dollars in Bitcoin directly afterwards. Was that ironic? No. He did that because he knew he could manipulate, influence, and cause a lot of speculation and fear, and use it to his advantage. So, anyways, 40 years later, silver continues to be a wild commodity at times, with price ignoring technical support and resistance levels when it decides to make a move. So the price fell 38% in under a month. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. But you also have to look at what happened from March until August. We had an extremely high 65% increase. So it's push and pull. It depends on what time frame you want to look at it. You could say that silver made the most dramatic, the most insanely profitable, amazing rally ever. Or you can go forwards a couple months and say, man, silver crashed so hard, it was the worst crash. So it really just depends. And if you're looking for the longer term, it really doesn't matter either. So anyways, let's go into his price forecast, and let's try to wrap this up. I believe silver will reach new record highs by 2023. He says gold $3,000 per ounce, perhaps higher. And let's look at April 2020 call for the gold rise $3,000. Silver is far more volatile. All-time high was at 1980, $50 on the COMEX futures contract. 2011 fell 84 cents shy of reaching the all-time high of $49. Price March 2020 low. I'm trying to kind of just skim through this. I am looking for silver to move above its 1980 high in the coming years. That would be silver's literal all-time high. That would be the highest price silver has ever been throughout history. It may not be long before silver is looking down at the $50 per ounce level after looking up at it for the past 4 decades, and that's going to be the interesting thing. When we get desensitized to those higher prices, we're going to look back at these times and be, man, what were we thinking? Why didn't we buy more? Just like people looking at Bitcoin back when Bitcoin was $1,000 or even $5,000. Now looking at it, $11,000, $12,000, whatever it is, people would say, man, why didn't we buy more of it then? Well, because you're in the moment then, right? Even if silver reached $100 by next month, you would look back now and say, man, what was I thinking? Well, you're still here. You can still take advantage of that. It's almost like we have a crystal ball to take you in the future. We know silver is much more valuable than $20 and $25 and $30 and $40, even $50, even $100. We know it's much more valuable than that. Given the circumstances, given all the facts, given all the information at bay, it's obvious. So, anyways, the article kind of goes on into the ETF stuff, showing some charts and what shares to buy or whatever. For me, I'm gonna wrap it up here because I really don't care about that stuff. I talk about it sometimes in my videos because I know that there is an audience. Whether it's precious metals, whether it's physical or the digital side, people are watching because they want to know what's up with gold and silver. So I try to provide that. But right now, this video's been long enough, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.